So good day to each and everyone. I would like to introduce myself to you. I am Radisa Farwa A. Kibong, a second-year college student taking up Bachelor of Science in Accountancy. I am glad that I was invited to be your spokesperson for today. So welcome to our Student Cultural Convention. We want the happiness of the Philippines, but we want to obtain it through noble and just means. If I have to commit feeling to make her happy, I will refuse to do so because I am sure that what is built on sand sooner or later will tumble down. Ito lang naman ay ang isa sa mga famous line ng ating bayani, si Jose P. Rizal. So as this goes by, I will show and share to you guys why do we need to study the life and works of Rizal. So why do we need to study the life and works of Rizal? Studying is a way of learning. Dr. Jose Rizal is a Philippine national hero. He was a writer and patriot, and his life and writing served as an inspiration for the Philippines' independence. As a result, knowing about him is the same as knowing the Philippine or knowing about his significance in Philippine history. So in the next slide is i-discuss ko naman kung sino nga ba talaga si Jose P. Rizal. So, Dr. Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Realanda was his full name. He was born in Calamba, Laguna on June 19, 1861. His father was Francisco Mercado y Alejandro and his mother was Chudora Morales Alonso Realonda y Quintos. So when he was young, he was known in his family as Pepe. But as he grew old, he grew smarter, stronger, and more famous for so many things. Rizal was a Filipino hero and one of the most famous advocates of change in the Philippines during the Spanish conquest, also recognized as the best hero and listed as one of the national heroes of the Philippines by the Board of National Heroes. So Dr. Jose Rizal's Asian relevance is a testimony to a person proficient in all aspects of lifestyle and whose legacy immortalizes his steady battle for the betterment of his countrymen. He became a well-reputable scholar, a notable athlete, an award-triumphing poet and logician with many posted works beneath his name. So as a Filipino patriot, he gave up the whole thing he had overseas to go back domestic and combat for the injustices that had been taken region inside Spanish colonial rule at that time. So consisting of spiritual conversion by a way of means of pressure and different oppressive regulation that disadvantaged Filipinos in their land. So next is Rizal's education, a man of many professions. So at the age of 11, he entered the Ateneo School, then located at the Intramuras in Manila, and he was initially denied entry. But with their family's connection, Dr. Jose P. Rizal was allowed to study at the premier school despite knowing very little Spanish. So during Jose Rizal's education at the Ateneo, he felt isolated because most of his classmates were mestizos and mestizas, and he was a dark-skinned Filipino boy. So as time passed by, Rizal's life in Ateneo became more bearable. He rose through the ranks, being one of the top performing students. He excelled in every subject he took. He was indeed a bright young boy. So to grant his father's request, Rizal took the entrance examination in Colegio de San Juan de Letran. But then, he enrolled at the Ateneo Municipal de Manila and graduated as one of the 9 students in his class that recognized as sobresaliente or outstanding. Rizal continued his education at the Ateneo Municipal de Manila to obtain a land surveyor and assessor's degree, and at that time at the University of Santo Tomas, where he did take up a preparatory course in law and finished with an excellence mark. So when Rizal found out that his mother Chudora Alonso was going to be blind, he decided to take up medicine at the Medical School of the University of Santo Tomas, specializing later in ophthalmology. So as expected, Rizal finished his medical studies with flying colors. But the story of Jose Rizal's education didn't stop there. So in May 1882, Rizal traveled alone to Madrid without his parents' knowledge, but he was secretly supported by his brother named Pasiano. There she studied medicine at the Universidad Central where he earned a degree. At 25, Rizal completed his eye specialization under the renowned Professor Otto Berker in 1887. There he used the newly invented ophthalmoscope to later operate on his own mother's eye. So apart from being known as poet, an essayist, and an expert in the field of medicine, Rizal has another amazing talents worth taking note of. He knew how to paint, sketch, and make sculpture and became a polyglot as he conversed in 22 languages. So aside from medicine, poetry, and creative writing, Rizal had another degrees in architecture, sociology, anthropology, fencing, and economics to claim a few. So next is his writing and reform. So while he is in Europe, Jose Rizal became part of propaganda movement, connecting with other Filipinos who wanted to reform. He also wrote his first novel, No Limit Tangere, or Touch Me Not, or The Social Cancer. It is a work that detailed the dark aspect of Spain's colonial rule in the Philippines, with particular focus on the role of Catholic friars. So the book was banned in the Philippines, though copies were smuggled in because of his novel. Rizal's return to the Philippines in 1887 was cut short when he was targeted by the police. So Rizal returned to Europe and continued to write, releasing his follow-up novel, which is the El Filibusterismo, or The Reign of Greed, in 1891. He also published articles in La Solidaridad, a paper aligned with the propaganda movement. The reforms Rizal advocated for did not include independence. He called for equal treatment of Filipinos, limiting the power of Spanish friars and representation for the Philippines in the Spanish Cortes, or the Spain's Parliament. So third is execution and legacy. So in 1895, Rizal asked for permission to travel to Cuba as an army doctor. So his request was approved. But in August 1896, Katipunan, a nationalist Filipino society founded by Andres Bonifacio, revolted. Though he had no ties to the group and disapproved of its vile methods, Rizal was arrested shortly thereafter. So, after a show of trial, Rizal was convicted of sedition and sentenced to death by firing squad. Rizal's public execution was carried out in Manila on December 30, 1896, when he was 35 years old. His execution created more opposition to Spanish rule. So Spain's control of the Philippines ended in 1898. Though the country did not gain lasting independence until after World War II, Rizal remains a nationalist icon in the Philippines for helping the country take its first step towards independence. So before I end this video or this discussion, I will share to you the facts about Jose Rizal. So first is that Jose Rizal was a polyglot. He was fluent in 22 languages, which is Hebrew, Filipino, Ilocano, Visayan, Subanon, Chinese, Latin, Spanish, Greek, English, French, German, Arabic, Malay, Sanskrit, Dutch, Japanese, Catalan, Italian, Portuguese, Swedish, and Russian. So second is that he was also a polymath, a man of many professions. He was an ophthalmologist, a farmer, historian, painter, journalist, playwright, novelist, engineer, and educator. He also had varying degrees of expertise in economics, ethnology, anthropology, sociology, architecture, cartography, martial arts, dramatics, and pistol shooting. So third, Rizal was a small man. He was just 5 feet and 3 inches tall, had a waistline of 25 to 26 inches, and a big head. So that will be all. Thank you.